Welcome, everyone. We are live, and it is Tuesday. It really is already. Today, what are we talking about? Like I do every evening or every day, I ask myself, what shall we share? And I heard, is it 3LW? Mm-hmm. Play, gonna play, right? That one. But that is all players can do. Players can only play. It is law. You see, whatever you believe yourself to be is how you will act in this world. Whatever you believe yourself to be is how you will act in the world. For instance, if you feel kind of shy, okay, we have that word introverted. If you are an introvert, how do you think you'll behave? You say you're an introvert. You say, well, I am introverted. What? I am introverted. That's what you say you are. So if that's what you say you are, then that is how you have to be in the world. This is the thing. But you see, we take it for granted because for whatever reason, we take it for granted. Every time we say these things, remember, those words are an idol that you say. Do you know what makes them not be idle? You believe them. That's why they're not idle. And what you believe is what you will express. What you believe to be true is what you will express. See, if we look at our lives, we'll begin to get it. When we say, well, I don't know how I feel. I don't know. Sometimes we're so quick to say, I don't know. But remember what I told you about that. We always know. You can't not know. That is the first principle. Awareness. We always know. The question then becomes, why are you afraid of it? If we look at our behavior, we will see ourselves. And by seeing ourselves, we will see what we believe to be true. We will see what we believe to be true. We will see our neurological pattern. What makes us tick? What makes us go? You know, you hear, don't hate the game, baby. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But the game exists because of who we say we are. You have to play it out. You can't say, well, I'm a basketball player, and then go pick up a baseball bat and a baseball. That's not what you said you were. What you say you are. How do you know what you are? Look at your behavior. As within, so without. As above, so below. Look at who and what you say you are. Look at your behavior. You see, and we're so programmed to think that, oh, there's something wrong with me. Uh, I guess I better work on my inner child. There's something wrong with me. If you hold true to the fact that there's something wrong with you, how must you live? Like there is something wrong with you. It's as simple as that. That's why a player is always going to play, because it is all he can do. And depending on the type of game that the player plays, you'll know what kind of player he is or she is. This is why I say to you every day, just gently examine yourself. What are you doing? It was like I saw myself yesterday. It was rather interesting, actually. At least I find it to be fascinating. It was madness yesterday because of all the rain we had. There are lots of claims, right? And I don't even know how many claims I processed. I can't tell you because I don't know. But I saw something. I saw in myself wanting to prove myself, wanting to prove that I could be organized, wanting to prove that I could be thorough, wanting to prove that I'm as good as I say I am. Like I saw myself in the little subtle things that I did. And I said, oh, Angela, people pleasing, are you? This is what I said to myself. I said, oh, people pleasing. And where did that come from? I remember vividly where it came from. You see, the things that leave an impression upon us causes us to act in a certain way. And because of what I had gone through not less than, well, about 3 months ago, in the back of my head, because of where that impression is, and just it there, I said, you know, you have to work harder. You have to show yourself valuable. You have to show yourself as irreplaceable. That's what I started to tell myself. And I said it to myself in such a subtle way that I didn't see that that's what I was doing. I didn't see it until yesterday. And I said, well, hot diggity dog. No, Angela, you're thorough because that's what you are. Because you're dealing with people's things. You have to be thorough. I don't have to be thorough because if I'm not, you're going to reprimand me. Because that would be fear. So when I saw the fear, I said, oh, look at you. How'd you get there? Oh, my. Oh, you were hiding, weren't you? I said, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. It's natural for you to be there. But here's what we're not going to do. I'm not going to cause a problem, sir. Sometimes the way I talk to myself, I tell you. But that's what I said. I said, it's okay. It's natural. We're human. We get afraid. But you can't rule me. And then I set about the task of rewriting it neurologically. Because remember, logic versus neurologic, logic will lose every time. Dr. Bruce Lipton says it this way. We are run by 95% of something invisible. And the other 5%, we think we're making decisions from a logical place. Dr. Joe Dispenza says your personality is your personal reality, which simply means who you say you are is your personality, which is the principle of correspondence. As within, so without. So you see, my beautiful friends, players will always play. That's all they can do. So when you encounter someone and sometimes when we encounter people, we want to act a particular way. We want to, act out and say, who you think you are? Why do you need to be such a jerk? Or why do you need to be so whatever you are? Remember, that person's opinion is coming through the lens of who they say they are. Right? So when you recognize when you recognize that you're dealing with a player, look at the game that the player is playing. You don't have to judge the player. You don't have to judge the player at all. Well, how can you judge the player? That's what they say they are. They have to be it. Can't judge them for that. Can't hate them for that. It is who they say they are. And they have to do as they say they are. So do you and I. And this is why it is important to observe who you say you are. And remember, sometimes we don't say who we are by way of words. Listen, even if you couldn't speak, you would tell us who you were. I remember when Noah was a baby. He always used to give me this look, this frown, he would just scowl. He'd smile for everybody else, but he'd always give me this scowl. He's so cute. And before he could speak, I always knew who he was. I knew that this was a child you couldn't force to do anything. He didn't have to tell me with words because he couldn't. But his actions showed me how determined he was, how I didn't want to say stubborn. I didn't want to say stubborn. I said determined, right? I saw what he was based upon his actions. And I was like, oh, Lord, this one's going to be stubborn, isn't he? Can't force him to do anything. And he's 16 now. You cannot force him to do anything. But if you explain things to him, if you answer his questions, if you answer them well enough, he'll do what you want him to do. He really does have a strong mind of his own, a strong sense of self. He does. Even to where he can point out his supposed flaws. That's why I'm saying to you, we don't have to proclaim who we are from the rooftops or the foghorn. Our actions. But you see, we don't look at our actions. We judge them. And that's why we remain in them. The first step to changing is the releasing of the judgment. And people say, well, you got to have healthy criticism, positive criticism. And I'm like, That's like having little giants, because to criticize is to find fault with. It doesn't matter if you find fault and you honeycoat it. You found fault. That's what criticism is. That's why they tell you the voice of your inner critic is always loudest. Why is that? Because it is who you say you are. So it has to be louder than anything else. So now that you know that players are going to play because it is all they can do, because it is who they say they are, how does one change? We change by first identifying what the problem is. You cannot pretend that that shit does not exist. That is the fastest way to drive yourself mad. There's no shame in acknowledging your shortcomings. Again, it is only your opinion, not fact, that you have shortcomings. But so long as you believe you have shortcomings, you will see the evidence of them. So you see where judgment is now? That criticism? It could, and the funny thing is, criticism sometimes can be disguised, you know. But you must always acknowledge what you're dealing with. Because when you acknowledge what you're dealing with, which is the quote-unquote problem, it doesn't say complain, it says acknowledge. You go, oh, snap, that's what I'm doing right now. I hear you a little bit. I hear you, baby. You're okay. So what do you do from there? After you've acknowledged the situation, and you know what? We do this all in a matter of seconds, you know. What we're doing right now is putting slow motion to it. But we do it, and we do it so quickly we don't know. So you slow it down. You acknowledge the problem. And if you see the judgment in it, you say, oh, I'm judging myself. Oh my God. Yikes. And you just catch it. The very fact of seeing it. Our habits, let me tell you. Habits are something else. They're so easy to start. Oh, you doubt me. How often do you pick up and put down your phone in a day? How often do you scroll? Habits are very easy to make, especially when you don't know that you're making them. You see, sometimes when we have to become deliberate, especially with non-judgment, there's a difference between discernment and judgment. Discernment is looking at a situation and making the right choice for you. Seeing through a situation, go, oh, no, I don't want that. But the judgment would be, ugh, who do you think you are? Oh, you special? Yeah, you special? You think you're better than everybody else? Yeah. Bless your heart. Criticism. Well, you can't do it like that. And you see how the judgment makes you feel? See how it makes you feel? Oh, it feels bad. It's pain. It hurts you. Makes you feel lesser than. And then because you believe it, where do you live from? A place of lesser than. And if you live from a place of lesser than, well, as within, so without, you will encounter the situations that prove to you so you can say, you see, I told you. I told you. Because you cannot be made a liar of. So acknowledge your situation. Don't judge it, just acknowledge it. Oh, snap, I see you. I see you. Acknowledge. To acknowledge, you just simply say, I see you. I see you. And then we make a decision. Do you like that? Do you want to continue doing those things? Do you want to continue feeling the way that you do? If you answer yes, well, you don't have to change anything, just carry on. But if you answer and you say, you know what, I would like it to change, that's great. See? You acknowledge that you wanted to change. Now tell yourself what to become. You see why complaining is dangerous? Tell yourself what you want to become. But if you complain, you know how we get when we complain and we bemoan our situation. But then you have to remain there because it is who you say you are. But tell yourself who you want to become. And once you acknowledge who you want to become, now, what would be the supporting evidence to show you that you did become it? It would either be, well, it has to be natural because it's you. It has to be natural to you. You would naturally be doing it. It can't be something far-fetched. Like, you know what? If I would this, that, and blah, 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 I'd be skydiving. Naturally, if that's your personality and you'd be skydiving and that's what would show you that you made it to the top of the mountain, well, then that's what you would naturally do. But you ain't gonna catch me skydiving. Hell no. I was not created with wings, darling. I don't soar upon the current. I can be the hawk in other ways, just not with them their wings. So no, that's not natural to me. You see, it has to be natural to you based upon what you would be doing. What supporting evidence would confirm to you? Or what would you see on the outside? What would you experience on the outside that would confirm to you that you've changed, that you've become the man or the woman you wanted to be? What would that thing be? Then you see it, what it would be, what you would naturally be doing. You see, we go through a whole schmooze real fast. Oh, I'd be doing this. No, 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 I'd be doing this. No, wait, wait, no, no. I'd be doing this. Yeah, oh, that is so me. And you try it on. You try on the attitude. And you say, yeah, that feels like me. I would definitely do this. So now that you've acknowledged what you would do, pay attention to how it makes you feel now. Because as soon as you acknowledged what you would do, the feeling arose. It rose up in your bosom. Mm-hmm. And because it rose up in your bosom, you're like, yeah. Because once you come upon the feeling, once you come upon that evidence, plant the evidence. Only in your own life, okay? Not in somebody else's. Oh, Lord, no. Plant your evidence. Show yourself what you would be doing. To show yourself what you'd be doing, you have to do it so yourself can watch. I always feel now somebody's watching me. You know who's watching you all the time? You are. You're always watching you. You're your first audience. So you show yourself what you would be doing. But to show yourself what you'd be doing, you have to do it. That's why step 2 is experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality. And here's the thing. This is not something that we have to go figure out how to do. This is something we do naturally all the time. If you see me walking somewhere and I stop and I smile to myself, chances are I'm thinking about my rooster. In my mind's eye, I can see him frolicking, hopping about the place, and he does not like the color pink. He will attack it. Ask me how I know. Right? So you experience in imagination. And as you experience it in imagination, meaning you mull it over, you think about it, it has a feeling that comes with it naturally. Naturally. You know, when you sigh, a lot of people come to the till and they sigh, and I say, oh, that's a big sigh. I wonder what your thoughts are. The sigh matches the thought. But people sigh and they don't notice that they sigh because they're not watching themselves. So your assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to live life from that place of self-observation. I did not say self-judgment. I said self-observation. What are you looking for? You're looking for the fact that you, step one, told yourself what you wanted to become, or you told yourself what you were. That is step one. And step two, you started to experience in imagination what you'd be doing in reality. If you were the man or the woman you wanted to be, you started to do that. You looked at all the reasons you went for this, whatever it is. You have this goal. And what you say you are will determine how you approach the goal. If you confidently know who you are, walk from that place, well, you will accomplish the goal in the same fashion. As within, so without. So if you don't know quite yet how you feel or what you think about yourself, look at how you do things. Because you've already done it in your mind's eye. We do things in our mind's eye first. That is what we all do. Because it is our nature to do so. We see the end. How you know you see the end? Because most of the time that conversation is, that's not going to work. Well, that's the end. How you know it's not going to work? You just declared the end. And then how do you expect it to unfold? It can only unfold in the fashion by which you give it. So if you say, that's not going to work, and it doesn't work, will you be surprised? No, the first thing you'll say is, I told you. We always live from the end. And if you watch yourself, you'll see it. So in order to become who you say you want to be, see the end. What does that look like? What is the supporting evidence that would confirm for you that, yep, I became who I said I wanted to become? What is that supported evidence that you would see out in the world? You see? When you see that supporting evidence in your mind's eye, it's not pretend, it's not make-believe. It isn't. It's who you say you are. So then, somebody asked the question about free will. Does free will exist? Free will is when you choose the cause. Or you choose the effect, but every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Once you make the choice, well, how does one make the choice? We say, I am. And again, you don't have to say it with your words. You say it with your knowing. And you make that choice. The moment you make that choice, it can only unfold in one way. The way that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. So if you choose effect B, the corresponding cause has to show up. You cannot go out in your yard and pick apples from an imaginary apple tree. You have to have the apple tree there. You have to have planted it in order to reap it. Let me say it this way. It has to have been planted in order for you to reap it, because there's a lot of things in my backyard that I didn't plant, but I reap the benefits of them. Tasty. So your free will to choose. I put before you life and death. Deuteronomy 28, I believe it is. I forget the verse, but I put before you life and death. Choose life. It's telling you to choose life, but you have the choice. Choose this day whom you will serve. You know what that means? You only ever serve the self. Don't come for me, okay? You only ever serve the self. The moment you say, I am, that is who you serve. Because you have to do what it says. I was driving and I remembered the phrase, the force of habit. Not force as in do what I say or else. Not that. But force of habit meaning the strength of a habit. That's why it is important to deliberately create a habit, as opposed to just let one, like our phones and our tablets and our iPads. Those are habits that were imposed. Well, pretty much everybody has a phone, and they're always on it. You pick it up, you put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. That's how the habit was formed. And you didn't rebel against it. So be deliberate when it comes to forming your own habits. And what is that habit? Who you say you are. Because who you say you are is what you have to do and be in the world. And that is a habit. Because if you get up every day and declare yourself to be, you're doing the same thing the same way every time. So you have to have the same outcome. Anyway, remember, you do not judge your situation, criticize. You don't do that. Why not? Because the way the criticism makes you feel is how you will live your life. I bet you can hear the voice of your mother, your father, or that teacher who criticized you. Mm. Why can't you be more like this? Why can't you be more like that? Blah, blah, blah. You can hear it. Look at where you live from now. And then understand why judgment poisons you. Not George. It poisons you. And the dose is the poison. So, how often you do it and to what level of intensity you criticize yourself, judge yourself on a daily basis, that is the type of experience you will have in the outside world. Step 1, acknowledge where you are in your life. You can cry about it if you want to. It's all right. Who wouldn't cry? We have tear ducts. You might as well use them. Because if you don't, well, you'll have some dry eyes, and that is no fun. So cry if you need to. Stomp if you need to. Just get it out. Holler if you need to. But just acknowledge. Acknowledge. And once you have acknowledged what you presently are, make a decision. Do you want to remain the same or change? In order for you to change, we don't change the exterior. We don't change the exterior. We change the interior neurological design. So by practicing a new way to become, which is you see it in your mind's eye, which is step 2, you experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality. You start to experience it. And as you begin to experience what that thing is, what that supporting evidence is that you'd be doing that says, you see, I did become it. How do you know you became it? Because this is what I'd be doing if I did. And you begin to experience that in your mind's eye. And it brings with it an accompanying feeling that confirms for you that, yeah, this is exactly what I'd be doing. I know myself. I know that's exactly what I'd be doing. See, you know it. So then what do? Continually show yourself who you are. Continually show yourself who you are. Why is that important, that persistence, that consistency? Because habits require persistence and consistency to form. When you form a habit, you are setting down a groove in your brain, aka a neurological pathway, so that every time you want to do that action, you will do it in that specific way. You'll do it in that way every single time, and you won't deviate from it. But it requires you doing it so that you can watch yourself do it. The best analogy for that is to be the dancer in front of the mirror. The dancer has to dance, but the dancer also has to watch themselves to see that they're getting the steps correctly. So they're not looking at their feet, they're watching themselves dance. They're watching themselves dance. So you have to observe yourself doing the thing. So you can catch it and say, wait, that's not the right step. Do it again. Oh, that's not the right step. Do it again, do it again, do it again. And you know what we call it? Muscle memory. Do it till you can't get it wrong. That is how one forms a habit. So when you get up every single day, you go to bed every single night, begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality. Over and over, you just watch yourself dance. Watch yourself rehearse. You are the one who has to do it so that the steps are laid down. You can't watch me do it. You have to watch you do it. That seems so weird to watch yourself do. And that's why people have mirrors over their beds. But you know what? I digress. I don't have a mirror over my bed. I have a fan. Lights. But you watch yourself do these things. Which means you have to be the active participant. So when you watch yourself do it, that's how you'll catch when you say, I did a misstep there. But shoot. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. From the top, let's do it again. You start doing those steps, which is the process. You catch yourself when you're talking foolishness to yourself. Say, no, we don't do that. No, we don't do it. We do it this way, this way, this way. This is the step. And that's how you'll catch that inner conversation. Oh, you think you're special? No, we don't do that. We don't talk to ourselves like we talk like this. And you go back and you run the steps again. And every time you catch yourself talking to yourself like you're crazy, you say, no, 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 no. We talk like this. And you start to do it again until it becomes what you do because you became it. You have to become it. As within, so without. Anyway, your girl has prattled on enough. Who's here hanging out with us? I can tell you TikTok's not here. They give you, I think I had 6 months. And after that expires, you have 30 days. And then you can reapply and you do it again. So, sorry, TikTok. Give me 30 days. Well, that's what they want. Do I want it? I can't be bothered either way. Because I'm everywhere else. So it's all good. K Frame is here. And there's other people there in the chat, but they have not in the chat, they're in the space, but they haven't made themselves known. So I can't shout you out, but I can say, hey, K Frame, it's good to see you, darling, in these YouTube streets. Twitter is as Twitter is, but I can see who catches the replay, and it's nice. Because allegedly, this is early for some people. Miss McQueen, Ray Flow Smiles, Miss Deborah, Moon and Dolphin Duck. Oh, look, is that a bot? You know you made it when you got bots in your room. But you know what? I digress. So, what are you going to do? Flo Smiles, let me shout you out. You are absolutely a treasure. You are, you know. You show up every day and you assist me because I get the notifications. And I'm like, oh, my girl is busy. I'm like, oh, look at that. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. I was like, oh, my Lord. I'm like, oh, she on it today. Like every day it's like that. Every day it is like that. And I'm watching the space grow because of your level of commitment to it. And so for that, I am grateful. Truly. I am. So thank you for that. Yeah. A true visionary, my darling. A true visionary. Because that's what I've always wanted. Because I know myself. I know myself. And so I've always wanted someone who believed in what I do, but they'd come along and make it just look so easy to make shorts and videos and cut up the video and get it out there. And she has it streamlined so beautifully. So thank you for making your girl look good. I appreciate it, truly. Truly, I do. And with that, my beautiful friends, Little Bit and Lady are, remember, she's sitting on an egg. And a little bit is in her face. He's sitting, just as you see them in my PTR on Fanbase. That's how close they are right now. If I walk in that room, that's exactly where they are. But she's just sitting on that egg. So we're going to have a baby in how many days? Oh, Lord. By July 11 or July 10, we'll have a baby in the house again. So you see, we're always in the phase of either hatching or laying. Ebb and flow, y'all. Don't think that life does not follow that, because it does. Ebb and flow. She's ebbing right now, meaning she's just sitting on that egg. She's just sitting on it. And she does more than sit. She rotates the egg to make sure that the temperature is the same throughout. So this is why she sits as still as she does, to maintain that temperature without any major fluctuations, to preserve the life within the egg. That's what's happening. A very delicate balance, but she's got it down to a science. So you see, nobody taught her how to do it. It is natural to her, just like you and I have natural things to ourselves. Step 1, who do you want to be? Step 2, experience in imagination the evidence. What would you be doing? Rehearse it. Get the steps right. Get how you talk to yourself right. That's why you've got to participate and do it. And step 3, that knowing feeling of, yep, this is exactly what I'd be doing. Because I know me. I'd be doing this. I'd be doing this. You know. So then just keep rehearsing what you know, and you will see the evidence. Because the evidence is inevitable. You must always see the evidence. And that is why you persist. You persist in begging? Well, you're going to have to continue begging, y'alls. Persist in your fulfilled desire. Which is what? The way you would be behaving if that is your desired outcome. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you. I'm going to close all rooms. Yeah. Because I got to get ready. I got to get these chickens fed and watered and get ready. Because I know more claims are coming in today. So, the early bird. Oh, you know what? Say what you got to say. All I said was the early bird. And here he is in all of his splendor. He is just, he never disappoints. What a friend he is, you know. Anyway, I'm glad you got to hear him this morning. And players will play because it's all they can do. So that's why you don't hate the player, baby. That's why you say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Anywho, mwah, much love to each and every one of you. Go forth today and do what? Be your best. Don't fight the logic against the neurologic. Create new neurological pathways. And your logic will change. Ow. Peace, everybody. Peace.